Two, one. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, and you guys know who this guy is, world champion, Kody Merritt. Kody, what's going on?
Not much, just chilling, getting to talk with Mr. Chocolate Thunder. Kind of excited about it.
Well, yeah, because we got Kody and we got Jody. What better way to kick off a show, right?
10-4, 10-4.
So before we get into these big topics about these big events going on, I have to get your reaction when you saw Vitaly and Dave Chafee. And I'm telling you, it's been a while since I saw a match like that kept everybody on their heels. It went so back and forth. What were your thoughts on that?
So, ironically, I didn't get to watch it when it first happened. I was driving back from St. George, Utah, from the event that I did there over the weekend.
Yes.
But the guys like Luke Poulter was watching it in the back seat of the truck, and I was kind of listening to the narrating and whatnot. I didn't get to actually watch it till later, but just even listening to it was the best freaking thing I'd heard in forever. I was so excited for Dave, especially after having been up 2-0 in the last two competitors he's pulled and not being able to finish it. This was just beautiful. I sent him a message right after that and told him how big of a stud he was, and he was my hero. And just it was a great match, probably the best match I've ever seen. It was amazing
to watch that. And even Dave was on the show with Brian Allen and Jason Latona and said he's 0-2 in East versus West, but he's 2-0 against the King of the Table matches. And I don't know if that's a rule set, if that's a referee. I mean, I don't know what the difference is, but I just know that, it's a lot different. Maybe it's because of the opponents he pulls, but I'm glad he came out with the win. Tell everybody your experience with the East versus West when you pull Zurab.
It was actually Morozov.
Morozov.
Yeah, no problem. So, Ingen Tiersey's a bad dude. Like, I love that man. He is incredible arm wrestler. He's a great ambassador for our sport, and he is so selfless. Like, people think that he does this for him. He does not. He makes zero money on these events, and he puts himself through so much stress, and I don't even know how he does it, but he's amazing. And his wife is there right by his side, helping him out. They are so good for this sport. And East versus West right now, in my opinion, is the number one production out there. Like, I don't think anything else comes close to it. Just because it's ran by someone who wants to see arm wrestling succeed, who has a love for arm wrestling. And that, I think, is amazing. No, King of the Table is really, really good too. I just really love the East versus West platform and format. And Ingen was an amazing host. He treated my wife and I, Jolene, amazing while we were there. We loved the experience. We stayed an extra few days. Looking back on it, I wish I would have went a few days earlier and left. I was there for a week, and I wish I would have gotten there earlier so I could sleep more, and then left after the event instead of staying and vacationing afterward. But regardless, it was a great event. Artem Morozov he's a bad dude. Like, I haven't been on YouTube or anything or spoke about this. I haven't even done my own video about that match because I was so distraught. I may have shed a few tears after that match because I really was frustrated about the whole situation. Not that I felt like I was maltreated or screwed or anything. I was beat by a better arm wrestler. I felt like I was a pretty good arm wrestler, and he made me look like an old man. And I felt bad for my fans, people that had put money on me. I felt bad about everything. I felt like I let all of my people down, and that was a tough part for me.
Right.
But I can't take anything away from Artem. He's a great kid. He's got so much potential. He is going to be a beast. He already is a beast. He's just going to get better and better and better.
So I'll tell you what, during that match, because of the time zone difference, so it's, usually it's about 10 a.m., West Coast time when those events start. So, I already have my own practice going on Saturday mornings. We're screaming through the TV, Kody, not that you can hear us, but like, Kody, slide your elbow forward. We're kind of just going nuts and everything. And I will say this: don't feel like you gotta like apologize to anybody, okay? Because you're on a big stage and you want to sit there and find out, hey, where do I fit in all this kind of stuff? And you stuck your toe in the water, you found out, okay, all you got to do is bounce back, man. So as a good friend of yours, man, don't feel like you got to apologize. Don't worry about shedding any tears, man. Man, we're still proud of you anyway. So I don't want you feeling all down about that, because I'm still waiting on some video from you and I still haven't seen it. So I was wondering, was everything okay?
Yeah, I lost a lot of motivation for the whole YouTube thing after that. I don't know. I hit a real down spot it was bad for me. I didn't like it at all. So I've been coming back to it. I've been training hard. I've got this match with Corey coming up, and I'm really focused on that right now. So, but yeah, I felt bad about the whole situation. In the first match with Artem, when we got into the strap, there was a moment where I thought, okay, I'm here. I've got this.
Right.
And then he was able to, he made a couple surges, and each time he surged, his wrist would buckle just a bit. It would bend just a bit. But then he saw that as well. He'd regain, and then he did this. He like kind of clamped higher and just did like a high hook over the top of my hand, and
right.
I wasn't ready for it. I was ill prepared, and it got into my head. After that, I felt like I had to try and get into the strap, and he would not. He was like all over my hand. He wouldn't let me slip, and I was a mental case. So I don't know if I don't know that I could have beaten him even if I was able to slip the second and third match. Right. But I felt like in a strap we were much closer. I like the strap a lot. I do feel like I do pretty good in the strap, but I couldn't get back to it. So it is what it is. Maybe someday they'll bring me back to East versus West. I would love for that opportunity. My young Padawan, Jack Crucy, you know who he is? You've met him.
Oh yeah.
17-year-old kid. He's a bad dude. Like, he's really doing well in arm wrestling. They are actually asking him to come over to Istanbul this November to compete in the Arm Wars. I think it's called Arm Wars or something for the youth. He's going to be pulling. This is up in the air. We don't know for sure who he's going to be pulling, but 18-year-old cousin of Levon from Georgia.
Really? Wow.
Wants to arm wrestle him, and he's about 200 pounds. Jack's about 215-ish, so it's pretty close. They want to do right-handed. Jack would prefer left, so we're trying to negotiate both hands.
Right.
Get to just kind of go that way. But Jack's pretty even both right and left-handed, but he just feels a little bit more comfortable left-handed. Right. I don't know if that has to do with coaching.
I'll tell you what, I've seen him, and he's coming to the Hawthorne events. He's came to the Idaho State Championships, and we got people we got Benji Mack in the house, we got Ryan in the house, Macho Man Aaron Yersey's, in the chat and stuff. And I'm telling you, when you watch this kid, it's like, uh-oh. And like I said, I see them making, you know what? Give him another year. He's going to be, tearing things up. Yeah. And for some reason, nowadays, it seems like I've been in the sports since 2011. There was a time where when I first got into it, it was a big boom. Then it kind of died off. And now it's starting to pick up again. And it seems like there's a lot more people involved now than when it was when I first got into it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think social media. That's the main what we're doing right now. Social media is the main reason that it's taking off, or it's done as well as it is. I started arm wrestling roughly 26 years ago. Then I took a big break for about 9.5 years, and then got back into it about this time in 2015. So I've been back in it about 6 to 7 years now.
Right.
And but back when I was in it, we didn't have we hardly ever got to arm wrestle people from the West or from the East Coast. We never saw anybody unless they were able to travel to a money tournament. We didn't get to see videos of people like they have on YouTube now. It was a whole different game. And it was what makes it good now is we can pull up YouTube, we can pull up Instagram, we can pull up TikTok and find arm wrestling anywhere at any time. And we've got tons of people putting content out there, tons of people that know what they're doing and tons of people that don't know what they're doing. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It gets arm wrestling out there, and that's the main important thing. And it's helping our sport grow. And people like you are doing that, Jody. So thank you very much.
Hey, I do it because I love the sport. Like you got to realize, and for those in the chat and everybody watching, like when I did this ArmTalk thing, it was on Facebook Live. Okay, it's like, oh, you should do it on YouTube because you can get paid. And I wasn't about that then, but I do know that for me to make sure that I guess you can say our brand builds or whatnot. Once our brand builds, then it's like, oh, okay, it couldn't build on Facebook, and then why I switched from Facebook Live to YouTube is because somebody asked me and said, hey, Jody, if there was an episode of ArmTalk I want to watch or listen to, do I have to scroll every single one of your posts to get to that? And I was like, I'll be damned. I think you do. So it just made things easier to go ahead and do that now. And I got 499 subs now. And thank you, everybody out there. I appreciate the love. I'm just going to keep giving stuff out there, whether it be interviews or just, stuff I train with. But I like just sitting up here and just talking because it's just we can be normal. We don't have to put on this, alter ego. We can just sit there and chat and talk and be normal. You know what I mean?
And I agree. I actually get sick of watching training videos. Everybody tells me, Kody, I want to see how you train. I'm like, go to an arm wrestling practice. That's what my training looks like.
Right.
And it just seems so boring for me that people want to see that content. I would much rather see how arm wrestlers live their life, like what they do on their free time, like where they spend, what they do for fun. That's the kind of stuff that interests me. I want to know about them as people, not what they do to make their pinky finger stronger.
Well, I mean, okay, so remember you're I'm looking for some content when you went hunting. Is that coming up pretty soon? Aren't you going tomorrow?
I actually am going back again, but we went hunting the first of this week. I went up last Friday, right, and came out Tuesday. So I've been hunting already. We're going again tomorrow. I was actually able to shoot my elk on Saturday morning, opening morning. So I'm done. I'm done. But now I've got brothers and friends that are trying to get their stuff done. So I'm going to go help them.
Now there's some jerky in the mix. There's some jerky on the
I've got it all in the freezer, and that's the exact plan. I'm going to make a bunch of jerky out of it. So yeah,
nice. So let's change gears. So monumental mega match coming up with you and Corey West. Tell everybody, if you can, how much you can say, how'd that match come about?
Well, you probably know, I've been trying to put together, Ryan Espy and I've been trying to put a match together for some time.
Yes.
It always fell through. COVID came up, travels came up, I got hurt. There was a bunch of different things that made it not work out. Ryan and I were number 1 and number 2 in North America. I've never beaten Ryan. I've never pinned Ryan in an arm wrestling match. I beat him once on fouls, which I don't necessarily consider a win. But he's beaten me every time. So I never could figure out why they had me ranked number 1 and him number 2. It seems how I have never beaten him. So we've been trying to get that match together. In the meantime, he and Corey had set up a match in Texas earlier this year.
I remember that.
Where Corey was able to beat him. And that put Corey into the number 2 position. So Corey trains with Michael Todd, and Michael's got his big Monster Factory events that he does a couple times a year. And he asked if Corey and I'd be interested in a match in his next Monster Factory event in December, on December 10th. Yes. And we were able to negotiate a fair deal. And we're going to go out there, and I'm actually going to go. My wife and I are going to go and stay with Corey and Julie in their house for a couple of days.
That's some content right there. Can you imagine? Yeah. So, okay, here's the thing. If I get the opportunity to do something like that, I'm doing content. We're just sitting there, having a dinner and just talking. I mean, that to me, that's exciting. Yeah. It may seem boring to other people, but when you get 2 athletes who are about to go toe-to-toe on a table, but they're like, okay, we're different off the table. Now we're having a dinner, maybe having friends. A beer, and just chit-chat and just talking. That kind of stuff excites me. That might sound weird to everybody, but that kind of stuff excites me.
That's the stuff I enjoy as well. That thing is I go and do this stuff, and then I think after I'm done, I'm like, why the hell didn't I video some of that? I just
Exactly,
I
right?
never think about it when it needs to be done. I got a light right in my face here. I got to change. Okay, there we go. But yeah, you're right. That's the kind of stuff that I would prefer as well, Jody. I would prefer that content. So I know that Corey's got his own YouTube channel now. He and Julie have got stuff going. Maybe we can do some sort of collaboration and get some content together while we're there. I have no problem with that. It'd be fun.
No, that'd be awesome. So, you're going to change gears now. You don't have to travel over the pond, but I did want to ask you a question because that's always seems to be a topic with some of our guys who travel to the pond and they say, yeah, every time they come back, I should have got there a few days earlier or I should have got there a week before. Tell everybody who don't understand, why is that?
Okay, so I've been over there 4 different times to compete. For World Championships, I've gone 3 separate times. And the last World Championship, the last 2, I got there about 6 or 7 days before I competed.
Okay.
And I was able to just acclimate to the time difference because, like you say, when we're competing at 9 o'clock at night, it's 10 o'clock here in the morning. So I'm used to being just like out of bed for a couple of hours, and I'm used to being at that time I'd be like almost asleep, and they're just starting competition, and my body's just not acclimated at all.
Right.
As a matter of fact, during that East versus West event, I was sitting there watching the matches prior, and I fell asleep 2 or 3 different times. Just sitting in my chair, I fell asleep. I was so exhausted that day. I got there 3 days early. Actually, I got there 2 days early. 2 days early. I wanted to get there earlier, but the plane tickets were like twice as much money. And I was trying to save. Ingen paid for my flight, and I didn't want to put a ton of burden on him, so I tried to get the cheapest tickets I could.
Right.
But the jet lag is a real thing. It's a big deal. And with the Worlds, you've got to get there early enough because Worlds is 6 days long. So they're competing for 6 days, and you're normally like in the middle or to the end of it. So by the time you get weighed in and stuff, you've got 2 or 3 days and you don't have to do much. Plus you get there a couple days earlier than that. So it's nice to just acclimate, spend some time relaxing, just getting used to where you're at. Food's different, sleep's different, everything's different. You really need to have time to sleep. And I'm not saying that that's the reason I lost that match, because I don't know if it would have made any difference. But I know I was exhausted that day. I literally fell asleep 2 matches before mine because I was just tired.
Well, I get it, because and I've talked with Ryan Espy when he said he went over there and he did Arm Wars. And he said, I probably should have got there a few days earlier too. I mean, it's one of those things, and God forbid, knock on wood, something happens. I'm like, oh, now I'm pressed for time. But when I get there, if you're not a person who likes to take a nap on the plane, then you're like constantly up, and then your body goes through a lot, and all of a sudden you're just like not there. And you got your opponent ready to sit there and tear your arm off. You're like going, dude, I'm like, give me like an hour and a half of sleep, then I'll be ready. But sometimes you don't get that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can't sleep on a plane. They don't build them for me. So it's tough for me to sleep on a plane at all. Plus I sleep with a CPAP machine, and that makes it even more difficult. But I know some people take their CPAP right on the plane with them and use it while they're flying. I'm like, how do you do that? But
I need all the room I can get, and even then that's not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel bad for Jolene, because she has to sit next to me and I take up half of her seat too. So it's even more uncomfortable. Exactly. It's really not very fair, but she is a trooper and she takes care of me.
Well, that's good. So 2023 is on the horizon. What do we see from matter of fact, when are we going to see you back on the world stage?
So with this whole IFA WAF thing, I am not 100% sure that I want to go until it's an actual world championship between everybody. And like, I went to the IFA Nationals this year to support Jack more than anything, because he wanted to go to Worlds. He wasn't able to do it financially. And the IFA National Championship was phenomenal this year. There were a lot of good competitors. There was a huge amount of people, way more than any of the USAF nationals that we've had over the last few years.
Right.
But the WAF Worlds is by far bigger than the IFA Worlds, and it is an event for sure.
Right.
I'm not saying that I don't know if I ever will go back, but I would like to someday, maybe. Right now, I'm trying to focus on being the best left-handed arm wrestler I can be, and I'd really like to see if Ingen would bring me back again for East versus West. He really doesn't have to, having gotten beat. I don't deserve a second chance, but I would sure like to. And
Oh,
I think
come
it'd be
on.
fun.
Yeah, you do. Don't no. Don't do that. You deserve a chance, my friend. Look, we are in a sport where it's a 50-50 shot. Either I win or lose. I mean, we all
Yeah.
know the math behind all that. Okay. Just because you lost doesn't mean that, okay, you're horrible. Because Devin pulled John Brzezinski. Whoever lost that match doesn't lose anything. Even though you lost, it doesn't take any kind of shine off you whatsoever. And I think people need to realize that. I think it's just, let's just be real. Some people need to realize that, you're still one of the best left-handers out there. Did you get the
Well,
job done? No, but don't short yourself like that.
well, I'm just thinking about him as a promotion guy.
Right.
He's got a lot of different opportunity or options to choose from, and I mean, it wasn't like it was a close match. He beat me pretty handily.
Right.
And if I get beat by Corey in December, then Corey's probably the one that deserves a match left-handed over there, not me. And I think Corey's actually got plans to go over there in January. So I don't know who he's arm wrestling. I have no idea, but he's talked that Ingen has talked to him about it.
Right.
But I'd love to go back. I actually think it'd be a lot of fun to go to Dubai. I think that'd be a great event to go and compete in the King of the Table.
Go sink your teeth into that one. See, and then you can really make a difference and go, hey, Dave, I understand what you mean by how different this is compared to that is, because I'm telling you, because Alex Kardecka, King of the Table guy, we saw him in the audience at East vs. West. And so it's kind of weird how some athletes are like more toward this, others are more toward, it's just weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Alex, he and I have talked about having a match left-handed. I'd love to have that match. As
Nice.
far as 2023 comes or plans, I've got a few events that I really want to go to, but I have nothing set in stone for sure right now.
Right.
I don't have any super matches lined up after the Corey match. That's the last super match I have lined up right now. The only thing that I know for sure that I'm probably going to do next year is the Hawthorne tournament. I love that tournament. It's a good one. It's a lot of fun. We've already got rooms booked. So that's the one I've got planned already because we've already got rooms booked. I know that a lot of my team are going to that one. So other than that, there's nothing 100% sure. Local tournaments I try to help out with around here.
Right.
I've been talked to Brian Kerner. He's got his NatFit event in February or March. And he and I are talking about a couple people to have a super match right-handed with.
Right.
He mentioned one person that I don't think I can hang with. So I don't know for sure if that's going to happen. I think he would just crush me. But left-handed, it's after there's me, Corey, and Ryan. I don't know who else would really. I'd like to arm wrestle a few different people, but I don't know if it makes sense for promoters to put those matches together.
Right.
So really, I don't have anything set in stone for sure. Like I say, Brian's talked to me about coming back to the NatFit in Kansas City, which I love those events too. If you ever get a chance to go to Kansas City, people, go to one of their events. Yeah. The NatFit event, which is in the early part of the year, spring, it's usually February or March. And then the Fallen Heroes done by Ryan Johnston, that's later on in the year. It's usually September-ish.
Yeah.
Also a really good event. They are great events. They are tons of competitors. Kansas City is a mecca for arm wrestling. If you ever want to go to a great event, go hit one of those.
They got some studs there, I'm telling you. There was something you said, and it triggered something, because I was talking with Josh Grant last week about because he's in Turkey right now getting ready for Worlds. And, you just said, as far as worlds go. You're focusing on trying to be the left-handed, the best left-hander out there. Now, people ask me, they ask my opinion. How come we can't send our heavy hitters to the world championships? And my thought was this, and I want to get your reaction. I said, some of our heavy hitters have been there and done that. What I mean by that, Kody Merritt, world champion. Dave Chafee, world champion. Ron Bath, world champion. I think Brzezinski won a world title. You got Travis Bajan, those guys been there and done that. So it's kind of like, okay, from that standpoint, you guys been on the biggest stage and WAF Worlds or whatnot, and you won. It's kind of like, okay, I fulfilled my obligation as far as that goes. Now let me go over here and see what I can do just as to be the best I can be from a one-on-one standpoint. Do you think that theory holds any water or no?
Actually, I think that theory holds a lot of water. So here's the thing that people don't understand when they're talking about East versus West arm wrestling, like Eastern European people versus Western, the United States, North America, that area. When a team like Kazakhstan goes to the World Championship, they bring hundreds of competitors. They have 2 people deep in every class, in the disabled classes, in the masters, they've got them everywhere. And the reason why they do that is their country helps them go to these events. They don't have to come up with the money out of their pocket like we do. And for Kazakhstan to fly to Turkey, it probably cost them $200, where it costs us, $1,500 to get there, especially if we bring our spouse. So it's not a very feasible thing for us to go over there year after year after year. Now, there are the diehards that love the Worlds. I love the Worlds, but like Josh Grant, he goes because he loves that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Robert Baxter goes every year. He's working on his 7th straight World Championship this year. Yep. It's a big deal for him. For me, I don't have that kind of cash just to fly over there whenever I want. Right. And when I can go to one of these bigger events where they will pay for me to go, I don't have to come out of my pocket. I have to decide what's the best thing for me financially. If I spend $3,000 to $5,000 to go to one event, the Worlds, that's probably really my shot for the whole year. I'm not going much other places.
Right.
I don't know how much money Josh makes, but he goes to the Worlds almost every year. You don't see him on Western United States arm wrestling in events. You don't see him outside of Michigan area where he competes. Right. Probably because he can't afford to hit those other events. He's saving to go to the Worlds. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest difference there. We don't our nation, or whatever you want to say, our arm wrestling what's the word I want to say, like our organizations here don't help us like those other countries do. They have a world championship budget that they put together to help send their athletes to that. We don't have that here. It makes a big difference. And I wanted to win a world championship because that's a big deal to me. So I went there. I was able to do it. Originally I wanted to go back and repeat. That was my main goal. Right. Didn't work out that way with COVID and whatnot. But since then I broke my radius bone and I've been trying to recover from that. And it's still not, I thought it was getting better, but it's not the same. Like I have issues with it still, and I'm trying to get that worked out. But
and I'll say this, like the planets for the IFA Worlds, I went last year, and the planets did this for me and my family because it was a 2-for-1 deal, the 2 birds with 1 stone type situation where we made a vacation out of it. I only plan on pulling masters, and then once my 2 days were up, guess what? We're on vacation the rest of the time. So we had an Airbnb. We enjoyed ourselves. Good food. Got to go on the swamp and look at gators on one of those little aircraft boats and all that kind of stuff. And for me, it was an experience. And all that was like, we spent 5 days there. And that was cool because, we as in America, we don't know when exactly the next, any kind of world championship is coming to the States, so it's like, hey, you better take advantage while you can. So I took the advantage. made the most of it. Second place Masters. Hey, I'll take it. But now I've been kind of pondering after this event coming up in December, Washington State, which happens to be the same day as the Monster Factory.
Yeah.
Once that's all said and done, then I may need to sit there and reevaluate, what I want to do, what options do I have out there. So yeah, you're totally right. When it happens, you sit there, you kind of go, you know what benefits me? What makes the most sense financially? Is it, can I get the time off? If I do, how much time do I get off? So, I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into that. For me, I feel I'm in a position where I work Sunday through Wednesday. So I can take an extra couple of days off and tag on, and I'm still off work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If I want to take extra Sunday off, there's 4 days. I'm good to go. So I'm fortunate to have that kind of schedule. But, you're absolutely right as far as, hey, does it make sense? All right. Carolyn Loom said, Kody, would you like to pull in North America? And she goes, I'm pulling for you in great regards, blood flow.
Great regards and blood flow.
Yeah, it says, Kody, I'm pulling for you in regards and blood flow.
Oh, blood flow helps it heal. I'm assuming she means get blood flow to help me heal, which I understand completely, and that's exactly what I've been trying to do. Gotcha. Thank you, Carolyn.
Okay. Yeah. So injuries, and we all know about the arm, and how is that arm healing anyway? I mean, obviously it's doing good because you're still competing, but
so the arm is healed. Like, I don't have issues with the break. That's all good. I have issues with scar tissue and soft tissue. When I'm arm wrestling, and when you're pulling really hard and that let off when you release.
Yes.
I have pain that shoots all the way down, like from my tricep here, clear down my forearm. And the more I do it, the more intense that pain is. When I'm in a match or like in something where the adrenaline's flowing, I don't really feel it. But when I train and practice, I feel it all the time, which makes it harder for me to train because it hurts too bad. So I really think I started going to the gym before I went to the East versus West, and I started doing some tricep workout. Yes. And I realized that a lot of that pain is coming from my tricep, and because the tricep kind of comes down and attaches and goes over the elbow like that and kind of attaches into the forearm area somewhere. I don't know exactly how.
Yeah.
But that when I started doing tricep, I felt that pain going down my forearm, which tells me I think my tricep had been really atrophied. So I tried to start working on that a lot to get it back up, and hopefully that's going to help with the pain. I've never been a big gym rat. I don't necessarily think that gym training helps with arm wrestling. I believe it helps with overall strength, but I believe if you want to be a better arm wrestler, you have to arm wrestle. And so I've always put my 2 cents into practices and training that way.
Carolyn says, what about nice, easy circuit training on the chest press machine and shoulder press and light weights? I actually like that kind of stuff. What I try to balance. It's hard to balance because depending on who I'm pulling, what tournament I'm pulling, that will dictate what kind of training I got. If I need to go into a 6-round match, then it's going to be a lot of table time, a lot of lightweight, a lot of reps. If I'm going against a big powerhouse, then it's going to be a lot of more, strength stuff and static holds and things like that. Do you think that may play a part in some of that stuff?
I think so. I also like going to the gym. I learned about JM presses, and I've been doing a lot of those with lightweight, trying to get some blood flow into that tricep forearm area through the JM press. And that actually attacks the inside and outside of your elbows. It's a phenomenal recovery lift for arm wrestling. So I'm a believer in the JM press for sure. But yeah, I do believe I don't lift heavy at the gym. I try to keep my lifts around the 10 to 13 reps so that it's more of a blood flow endurance type lift. And then I try to get most of my arm wrestling explosivity out in practices. That's where I try to get all of that stuff.
And I'll tell you what I do. It's not a secret, but because lately I've been doing the seated bicep curl with the barbell, easy bars, and that kind of stuff, and it has helped me. I know I've been getting some back and forth, like, oh, that isn't, connect to the table time. I'm like, you know what? I mean, you're right. I mean, just, curling doesn't really do anything as far as arm wrestling itself. But what I've noticed, because everyone's built differently, everyone has different, quirks about them. What I've noticed that it does help me as far as my inside. And just, I know you're not a real inside puller, but maybe you can shed some light. So when I get into a hook match, the only reason why I focus so much on the bicep is just to lock my biceps. When I do get into a hook match, I can strengthen it. I can just lock it. Then I can proceed to pronate or press or whatever I want to do. And that's what I try to explain to people. And some people don't understand, which is fine. I mean, everyone has their own theories, So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe that everybody, like, it's funny because certain people's locks, everybody's lock usually is in somewhere different, is different position. Right. Like my lock left-handed is in an open spot, not quite, a little bit over 90 degrees. I feel like I can hold there. If I can keep my pronation, I can hold that position for a really long time. Yeah. Right-handed, I actually am more of an inside puller. And I believe that if someone gets on your bicep and they're laying on it, that stuff in the gym is going to help with that. If you're trying to keep that static hold position, right. that is a good thing to train in the gym. What I meant by lifting, it doesn't make you a better arm wrestler. It makes you stronger. Yes. The only way you're going to get to be a better arm wrestler is by arm wrestling. So lifting makes you stronger, but I think that a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to go and learn how to curl 7,000 pounds and nobody's going to be able to straighten my arm out. Well, it's not how it works.
Right.
So I think that you've got to have a good table time regiment. And then I believe that weight training is really good for recovery. That's my main belief. I'm so old now that I really can't lift hard because I'm hurting after my table practices every Thursday night. Gotcha. So I try to recover from that. By the time sorry, got a message here. By the time next week comes along, I'm finally recovered and I've got to go back at it again. So, and these younger kids like Jack, this kid that I train, he lifts every day and he could arm wrestle every day. The dude never has soreness.
Well, it's nice to be young again.
Yeah, right. Like the kid is just insane. And I just think to myself, gosh, how would that be? But yeah, he's those young kids have a ton of and that's when you get better. You need to be doing that stuff as much as you can because it's going to make you a way better arm wrestler.
And that's what it comes down to, you know what I mean? I mean, it is Thursday, which means you do have practice tonight, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I did want to just kind of get you on the show and talk about, your upcoming match with Mr. Kody West in December and what you got going on for next year. I know it's still kind of, you have a couple things nailed down, but everything else is still up in the air. You just got to sit back and wait. But in the meantime, train, stay healthy, enjoy hunting, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. So the match with Kody West, like we've arm wrestled each other. I want to say 2 times, maybe 3 times. I can't remember for sure. We've arm wrestled each other in the past.
Didn't you have a match with him at one of the NetFit or like one of the Fallen Heroes events a few years back?
Actually, both times we've had super matches with each other was in Kansas City, and then he pulled his bicep, tore his bicep off against Dave Chafee in Idaho the same day that I broke my arm against Robbie Topi.
Oh, I was there. I remember that, man.
Yeah. So he and I have been injured from that same day. Since then, he hasn't lost a left-handed match, and he's beat some big names. Like he's really done well. Yeah. He beat Ryan pretty handily, which I mean, I knew Kody could compete with Ryan. I thought Ryan would be too explosive for Kody. Because when I've arm wrestled him, the way that I've had success is by getting a good hit into his fingers and keeping his wrist straight. Ryan didn't seem like he was able to do that, which really surprised me because Ryan's known as a pretty explosive arm wrestler.
Yes.
So he, I'm anxious since Kody hasn't lost since that day. He's just gotten better and better and better. And I'm anxious to see if I can still compete with his power because he is an extremely strong person. And he's rather large.
And I'm telling you, that's one of the co-main events because I think on that same card, Michael Todd is pulling John Brzezinski, and so that'll be good because now we get the 245-pound version of Michael, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that match will happen after his match with Prudnik, I believe.
Yeah, so that match is for number one in the USA, John and Michael, and then the left-handed match between Corey and I is for the number one in North America. So it's a pretty big event. He's got a few really good matches in that card that are interesting. I think Bob Brown's going in arm wrestling that day as well.
I believe so, and I wish I could watch it, but I'll be busy at another tournament that same day. So,
and I love the Washington State event. Tim does an amazing job with that event. I wish they were on different days because I enjoy going to Tim's event there in Washington as well. One event that I want to go to really badly someday is I want to go to the Michigan State. I want to go
gorilla, huh?
Yeah, I want to try and win one of those gorillas. They just are super cool. So yeah, if there's a sponsor out there that wants to help me get there, I'd love to go to the Michigan State event. But that's a bucket list event. I'd like to go to that one day.
Right.
So that one, and then I really would like to get one of those gators in Louisiana too. They look pretty cool as well.
Those
for the crocodiles, gators, whatever they are. I don't know what they are.
Those trophies, you know what? I mean, if you think about it, it's like those are pretty nice. The ones in Mississippi, that Sean Hancock with the bulldog and thing, those statues,
that was
pretty cool too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for trophies, as you can see.
You got your wall of fame back there.
Yeah, so I'm a sucker for stuff like that. But I always like the Nevada Hawthorne where I get the bullet. I got it sitting back there. I got a couple of them, so that's always
cool.
good.
Did you see what Ryan Johnston gave away for his Fallen Hero event this year?
Woo!
That's a pretty
talking about.
That's a pretty cool award, isn't it?
How heavy is that?
It's actually pretty light. It looks way heavier than it is, but it's not very heavy.
I mean, man, where do you put that at? I mean, just kind of sits there or what? That's pretty cool.
It's on my it's the centerpiece of my kitchen table right now because I haven't put it anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about taking it to work and putting it in my office. I don't know yet. We'll see.
That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, Sarah Latona's in the house. Yes. And
she's got a match
too, because she has a match against she's pulling Rebecca Todd.
Yeah.
Same day, December 10th. So God bless it. I wish I can watch, like I said, we kind of, promoters kind of, I'm not faulting anyone, but it's a shame because my mind will be on Washington State doing that, but yet I'm thinking, hey, how'd the Kody match go? Hey, fair win, hey, what's going on with Brzezinski and Michael? So I'm gonna be doing that because last year, if you remember at Washington State, that same day was Brzezinski and Devin Merritt, because I had to tell Denise, hey, and she was giving results out each round. So there was also, I remember that too. So
yeah, it's too bad that we've got stuff like that, but then on the other hand, it's really awesome that we have big events on the same days, because that tells us that our sport's big enough that we have events going on everywhere that are good events. Back in the day, you wouldn't have that problem because you didn't have as many big promoters trying to push the sport like they are now.
Right. And I think, and I've always told this, that I think it's because promoters are trying to make up for lost time with the COVID that kind of just annihilated everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, when that knocked everything out, Wall never really came back. So it's kind of like, okay, well, hey, Larry Wheels is going to do a King of the Table. Ing is going to do East First West. Neil Pickup's, rebooting the arm wars in a different way now. So Paul Talia's doing his thing. And then you got the tournaments that always were there before all this. So
yeah,
we're in a good spot because it gives everybody options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's a good problem to have. It's, we have promoters that get upset that people are stacking events near theirs, but you know what? You can't have everybody in one spot at one time. People just can't do that. And if there's a tournament on the East Coast the same day that I want to do a tournament, I'm not going to fret that, because how many people from the East Coast are going to come to my tournament? Very, very few.
Right.
So yeah, I just think we have to do what's best for our area and to get our local people to these events. When you get promoters that are big enough to have big people coming to their events, unfortunately, sometimes those are going to overlap, but that's just the way it is.
Well, it's always been like that. I just think now we have more tournaments to choose from,
Hmm.
as about a decade ago, that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, it's very true.
So, well, Kody, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you guys train on Thursday evening. So, I do
Yeah.
want to say thank you for joining me on the show. It was cool to get you on here, man. I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm excited for your match coming up with Mr. Corey West.
I'm a little bit excited about it as well, Corey. Or Corey, sorry,
I
Jody.
wish I was Corey West, huh?
I don't know. You're way prettier than him. Have you ever looked at him? That dude is not a pretty man.
I like the baby smooth face over here.
There you
So,
go. There you go. Yeah, Corey is a huge individual and an amazing person. He's just not very good looking. I really feel bad for his wife Julie about that.
this is why you
Unfortunately,
got to get content when you go over there and stay at their house. This is why right there. It's good stuff.
Jody, it's always a pleasure to be on with you. If you ever want me on, just let me know. I'm more than happy to come in and talk with you. I love doing this kind of stuff. And good luck to you and what you've got going on in the future. You've been really doing well as of late, taking on big names, stepping up to the plate with people that I would not think you would want to pull, but you do. And I think that's very admirable, very, very admirable for sure.
Thank you, because I'll be in Utah next year in September, so I get to pull one of your buddies, Jordan Seal. So I'm looking forward to that too.
What event's that for?
That's the Rumble at the Rainbow. I was talking with Justin Green. They bumped it to September next year.
Awesome. That's
So,
awesome. So you're coming to pull Jordan that day,
yes, sir.
right or left-handed?
Left hand.
There you go.
So
That's going to be a good match. He's
yeah.
a bad dude.
So I'm excited. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff on the horizon. I just got to cross my fingers and hope all the planets align, and then you'll hear more about me and more about what I got going on, obviously, on my channel. Thanks, everybody. Like and subscribe, by the way.
There you go. Yeah. Follow Jody. If any of you guys want to see a technician at the table, Jody Williams is your man. That dude can do anything he wants on the table. He is a multifaceted arm wrestler. He does not have one tool in his tool belt. He is a trickster. He's a sneaky bastard and a very good one at that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, my friend, go ahead and get some training in and stuff, and we'll talk to you down the road, and have fun this weekend hunting.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Take care.
Take care.